And let's go to the UK now and get all the news there with Sky News contributor Adrian Hayes. Adrian, thanks for joining me. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you for a few weeks. We've just been talking about Greenland. Now, I don't even know anyone who's ever been there, but you have.
I sure have. I've actually crossed the length of Greenland on an expedition a few years ago, and I've actually probably one of the few people in the world who's actually been on the Arctic Greenland coast. So I think your previous guest was saying some pretty sane things. You know, there's no chance of Russia or China invading Greenland. It's so inhospitable. So I think there's other ulterior. It's a statement of power and intent, I think.
How important, I mean, is it geographically for the US? I mean, it's a great spot to have a forward military base, I presume.
Well, it has the Pitterfoot base at the Northwest Green, which I've actually been as well. You know, that used to have a few thousand troops. It's down to about 150. But there is a bilateral agreement between Denmark and the US dated from 1951 that allows the US to put military bases on the island. And look, say the Arctic Ocean of Greenland, it's covered with ice. It's never going to be any different. So, and the western side is on the coast of Canada and the USA. So, a good luck to any Russian warship tries and go up there. There is a case of perhaps of putting something on eastern Greenland, which is bordering, you know, Norway, Scandinavia, and the Russian continent. But as I said, it could be done with just by the existing arrangements that they got in place.
Adrian, you know the Middle East very well. You spend a lot of time there. You go there regularly. What is your take on Iran? I was just speaking to Greg there about the potential of these protests actually unseating the mullahs. What's your take on that?
Yeah, you know, there's been quite a few protests over the last few years, but this one does show signs that it could absolutely topple Ali Khamenei, the head mullah. And you know, this could be a real change. What is incredible about this protest, and again, your previous guest, you were saying, where are the free Iran protests on the streets of London around the world? You know, why is the UK government and other governments not being so hard on this as they have on other certain conflicts in this part of the region? You know, so there's something, you know, it's just because it's not fashionable, and because it's, you know, you're criticizing an Islamic regime, which is not all that wholeheartedly.
So you've got a big Iranian population in London, a very big population. A lot of Iranians obviously left Iran after the Shah was deposed. You know, are they out in the streets? Are they supporting what's going on at home?
There is anti-regime protests on the streets. Surprisingly, there's a pro-regime one as well. One brave fella climbed up the Iranian embassy and tore the flag down just at the weekend, which, you know, he could have got shot for that. But there are protests, but it's nowhere near the numbers. You don't have your middle-class white clids who are out on the streets sort of protesting against Gaza every single weekend or every sort of city in the UK, because they say it's not trendy, it's not fashionable. Free Tibet was fashionable, free Palestine is, but free Iran isn't. It's all a little bit not in the lefty worldview.
Funny that it seems to be a global way of going about things. Look, can I ask you about Kemi Badenoch? She's promising to copy Australia's ban for children under 16 accessing social media if her party wins power. This is what she said to the BBC.
What we are seeing is a lot of children spending so many hours a day on platforms that are profiting from their anxiety, from their distraction, and they are actually designed to be addictive. So what we want to see is common sense, protection for children and freedom for adults.
If she knew all this, why didn't she go ahead and invent her own, come up with her own ban? I mean, you know, you don't need to follow Australia. If it's bad, fix it.
Yeah, you're right. Look, I follow this with great interest. The problem with any banning of online platforms, it's all got mixed up into the online harm side of things, which unfortunately politicians use this for power and control. But look, we banned smoking, we banned drugs for children. I've looked at the science of social media and smartphones, and what they're doing to our brains is, you know, there should be a health warning. I mean, Steve, you and me have got mature brains. Yours is even a bit more mature than mine, but even it's doing harm to us. Frontal lobe overwhelm, memory consolidation problems, lack of focus, contemplation, critical thinking, all these skills which we should be installing in our kids, and they're not getting it from this dumbing down act that they get from social media, and including this whole need to get attention. This is what's making kids so anxious these days, because they just strive. They have to post on socials to get this attention, and that's a spiraling downward turn when you start on that line of thought.
Adrian, well said. Great to catch up with you again, my friend. I'll see you shortly. Adrian Hayes there in London.